Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Robert Conley on Robert Live tonight, and I am still here in Pittsburgh. I was here last night for the game, which was very exciting. I enjoyed it, and I'm glad that you can spend a few minutes of your time with me tonight or this evening here on Robert Live tonight. The information, I don't have a whole lot of information. A lot of you got to see the game last night, and you got to see the young guys again perform like Pittsburgh Steelers. However, there was a big surprise last night that happened that we don't get to have very often, being Steelers fans. And that surprise that we had last night was that the Steelers jumped out in front and stayed out in front. Hey, Brenda, how you doing? The Steelers jumped out in front and stayed out in front last night. They wound up beating who did we play last night? They wound up winning. Oh my gosh. The Detroit Lions, they wound up beating Detroit Lions 26-20 last night. So it was a really good game, and I enjoyed it. It was feeling like Steelers football. The stadium there was probably about 5/8 full. About time everybody got in that was coming in, and I don't understand it. I can understand not having a good time at the game. I can understand the Steelers being behind going into the final minutes and you leaving the stadium. But these people were leaving the stadium just inside of the fourth quarter so that they could miss the traffic. I will never understand why people will spend hundreds of dollars on tickets and leave early. It doesn't make sense to me. This is Robert Conley on Robert Live tonight on NGSC Sports. And so tonight, I'm going to have a special guest on, which will be her second appearance here on my podcast, on my Steelers podcast, Tammy Mills. And tonight, Tammy is going to give us information on her book because she's written a book. She's a Steelers sister, she's a Steelers diva, and she's written a book, and she's self-employed, and she's going to be here tonight to talk with us, to give us some insight on her book. And actually, I have a hat that I said last night I was going to give away tonight. If somebody was here tonight and they were there yesterday, because the hat that I'm going to give away is tied to something about the game last night. And this is the hat that I'm giving away. Okay, it's a really nice hat. It's a really nice hat. And I haven't seen this hat until this year, so I believe it's a model for this year, a style for this year. So this is the hat that I'm going to be giving away on the show today if you have the answer that comes from the game last night. And then when Tammy comes on, I am going to be giving away a copy of her book. So she's going to talk about the book, and then I'm going to have a little easy contest for somebody to win so that they can win a copy of her book. All right? That's my way of supporting Tammy by ordering one of her books, but then I'm going to give it to one of the viewers. Okay? That's what's going on tonight. Now, last night's game, I don't know how many of you got to watch it. I don't know if you were at home watching it, if you're in a sports bar. I don't know. It really doesn't matter. What matters is that you were able to watch the game. If you were able to watch the game, then you should have had a very, very good time because Ben started the game off as quarterback, and Ben was being Ben. He did a really good job. He said that the line kept him in the clear, or they kept him from getting sacked. He was happy that the line that was playing last night was able to protect him as much as they did, because he was running and scrambling a couple of times in order just to get the ball out there and make some completions. And we saw I can't remember the name totally, but our new tight end, okay, Fryermuth was looking very, very good last night. Very good. And in the press conference, when Ben was talking, he was saying very little about Fryermuth, because he says that he does not want the other teams to know who this guy is. Because if he talks too much about him, if he builds him up too much, the other team's going to prepare for him, and it's going to be a problem for him to be as good as what he can be if they are preparing for him to be out there on the field and catching the balls and blocking. What he did say is that the guy does practice extremely well. Okay, he practices well. He practices hard. One of the biggest things that he said is that he reminds him of another tight end. And there's only one other tight end that he would be saying he reminds him of. All right. And you know who that is. Number 83. It's not with us anymore. And he's retired. So I am very excited about this team this year. And coming off of last season, where we went 11-0 in the beginning, and Ben was not 100%. That's a train in the background across the river. This is a pretty busy area here. And you can look across the river. There are two trains crossing, or one going in one direction, one going in the other direction. I'm in Pittsburgh. I'm right by downtown Pittsburgh. And so I'm really excited about this season and this team that we've got, because coming off of last season when we started off 11-0, and we've got rid of a few guys that everybody really, really liked. Almost every one of them that are gone, we really, really like them. But what the Steelers generally do is they will pick up somebody that they believe has more potential than the person that they got rid of or the person that left. And if you think about it, when we picked up Najee Harris and then James Conner is gone, as good as Conner was doing the first part of the season, things fell apart in the second part of the season. He was getting 100-yard games last year. And then it fell apart. I can't blame it on him because it's all a team sport, but something wasn't right, and the yardage went down. When we were getting over 100 yards a game, then it dropped down to 40, 50, 60 yards a game running. That wasn't good at all. So now we picked up Najee Harris, and Ben said that he was glad that he was able to see what Najee could do outside of a running scenario. And so Najee got the ball on a couple of passes, and he ran after the pass, and he knew pretty much when to go out of bounds or that he wasn't going to get any more yardage. So he looks like he's using his head, and he's being smart that way. So, and being able to see Najee run the ball after the catch, that is an extreme benefit for the Pittsburgh Steelers with another receiver available. Okay, as Conner caught the ball coming out of the backfield, he was pretty good. He was powerful. He just didn't have the speed. But Najee's got some speed. So after he catches the ball, he can run the ball as well. And so that's a double threat coming out of the backfield, as well as having a blocking back in the fullback position with Watt being back there, Derek Watt being in the fullback position. Then that is a really, really good combination to improve our passing game, and a very good combination to improve our running game. And when you have a passing game and a running game, you're it's less likely for you to lose. If your defense is on point and you've got an offense that can run and pass the ball, then I mean your system is pretty much complete. One of the things that Ben said last night was that as well as the defense was cooperating with him or with the team, they weren't doing what he wanted them to do as much as he wanted them to do it, even though it was good what they were doing. Okay, so let me explain what I just said. They weren't doing what he wanted them to do more of. And what he wanted them to do more of was stay on the field a little longer. But they were doing a good job at what they were doing, but he wanted them to stay on the field a little longer because he didn't have enough time to study the photos that were being taken and study the defenses as much as they were playing it. And so he was a little bit rushed getting back on the field and doing what he needed to do in order to have a more efficient team last night. I think the first four possessions we scored. The first one was a flop and we gave the ball over, but then the next three possessions we scored, and we got to see some passing going on last night as well. So it was pretty good. And I enjoyed it, and the fans really enjoyed it. Had a very good time in the stands last night. So I wanted to go over that bit with you. I mean, it's not a lot, but hopefully you did get to see the game, and it didn't feel all the way like a Steelers regular season game, but it felt very, very good. All right, felt really, really good. Again, I will be giving this hat away later on in the show, and you will have to have an answer to a question that I give you that pertains to the game last night. Okay, and the hat that I'm giving away, it's a nice Steelers hat. Okay, you better win it, because if you don't win it, I'll keep it for myself. I like the way this hat looks. All right. So Tammy will be on here. If she can find her way in here, then she'll be on her in here in just about 3 minutes and get started. We'll see if she is. Let me check something out here. I don't see her in the waiting room right now. So hopefully she's back there and she will come on, and we'll have a special guest, Tammy Mills, here this evening. The Steelers, now they played their only home game for the preseason last night, and they will not play at home for a few weeks once the season starts. So the home team are not going to get to see Pittsburgh Steelers play here for a little while. I'm sitting on the Ohio River. The Ohio River its origination point is upriver just a little bit. I will show you where that's at. I showed you yesterday when I was in the small video, and when I was giving you some photos yesterday, but I'm going to show you the beginning of the Ohio River. First, I'll show you that there's one of the bridges, and this one needs to be redone. It needs to be painted. They have started to repaint the bridges and refurbish them. And then across the river, you can see a barge. This is Ohio River here, and a few boats. And then looking up the river, if you can see that water fountain in the middle of the water, there are two rivers that are joining there, one from the right and one from the left, and one's the Allegheny, and I believe the one on the right is the Allegheny, and the one on the left is the Monongahela. And I could be wrong. There's only two, and I could be wrong. But anyway, those two join to form the Ohio River, and that's where it starts. And that's where the name Three Rivers Stadium came from when there was a Three Rivers Stadium. Okay, that's where the name came from, Three Rivers Stadium. The end of two rivers, the Monongahela, and the beginning of, I'm sorry, the ending of the Monongahela and the Allegheny, and the beginning of the Ohio River. That's where it got the name Three Rivers Stadium. And now it's Heinz Field. And I think next year the name's going to be changed. So we'll see what's going on. I don't see that Tammy is here. She was coming on at 7:15. Maybe she had something else that had to happen. I don't know. But I don't see that she's here right now. So what I'm going to do is give the question. And if there's a tie and it's, you know what, I'm going to have to give more than one question because I cannot see all of the comments here. I see Brenda Gaines here, but I don't see anybody else here. So I'm going to believe that I cannot see all of the comments here on my telephone right now. So what's going to happen is as the answers come in, they come in chronologically on this page, and this is where I want you to post your answers. And then later tonight or tomorrow, I will go back on. Actually, it'll be tomorrow because I need to go on my computer. Then I will go on and I will look and see who put the correct answer on first. Okay, because I'm not at my desk, so I don't have my computer. So I'm going to give you a question, and I want you to type in your answer, and the first correct answer will win if there is a correct answer for this question. Pertaining to last night's game, where the Steelers beat the Detroit Lions, what part of the stadium was I sitting in? What part of the stadium was I sitting in? What level of the stadium was I sitting in? If you were on last night, you would know because I said it a number of times. So what part of the stadium was I sitting in? And type it in on the screen so that I will be able to take a look at it tomorrow and see who wins. You can type that in, and I'm going to give you a second question here in just about 30 seconds. Give you time to type your answers in. This is Robert Conley on NGSC Sports on Robert Conley Live Tonight, on Robert Live Tonight. So the second question, in case nobody answered the first one correctly, the second question is, who is the current second string quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Who is in the second string, the backup position as quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers currently right now? Who is the second team quarterback or Ben's backup quarterback? Type that on the screen. Okay, don't type what you want, type what reality is. Who is the backup quarterback for Ben right now? And you can type that in. It's just a tour boat here on the river, and they are talking and giving information about what is on both sides of the river as they are touring. And actually that paddle on the back is actually working. It's not just one that moves when the boat moves through the water. It's actually working. So it's a true paddle boat. Okay, so you should have been able to type in your answer for both of those questions. And I'm not. Let me look and see if Tammy's here yet. I don't see that she's here, and I don't see that she's in the waiting room, and I don't see a comment. Tammy, if you're out there, please type in a comment so I can see you here. But I don't see a comment from you. Um, so this is pretty much what the show is going to be tonight. It's a very short show, but I wanted to come on here and I wanted to give away this hat. So I don't see any answers here, but I'm sure I'll be able to see them tomorrow evening once I get on my computer. All right. So since Tammy's not here, I will invite her in again at some time, but she's probably pretty busy, and I understand that. And I will hopefully get some classy Steeler Divas in here when I start my trip back to Vegas. I may be able to stop once or twice in an area where there is a classy Steeler Diva and bring a classy Steeler Diva on live. So I'm going to end this short podcast here this evening. This is Robert Conley on Robert Live tonight on NGSC Sports. I hope you had a good few minutes here, and I will see you sometime next week, probably pregame for the Steelers' last preseason game. So this is Robert. I think they're going to Jacksonville next week. I think they're going to Jacksonville to play next week. So this is Robert Conley on Robert Live tonight. Thanks for coming. I'm gone, y'all.